Oh yes, my Stray Dog family, when you hear that theme song, you know it's time for another edition of Stray Talk. Time for me to say good night, St. Kitts and Nevis. Good night to the entire Caribbean region. To my Stray Dog family in the Kittitian and Division diaspora, I say greetings to all those who are on the World Wide Web and on my social media pages, YouTube and Facebook, both inclusive, and we welcome you wherever you are. Some of you I know are in Asia. There are some of you in Europe, and there are some of you in Africa, and there are a whole lot of you all over North America. So I'm at liberty to say good night. I can say good morning, and I can say good afternoon, because one of such greetings will be applicable to the region in which you now find yourselves. And I always like to reach out to the first-timers, because every program we do have first-timers, and I want to apprise them, I want to inform them that Straight Talk, if you're a first-timer, is a public service program that facilitates and promotes free expression on all issues of national interest, be they legal, be they environmental, be they technological, social, economic, and or political issues. On Straight Talk, you do have a forum to express yourselves freely. Let us in the process try our endeavor best to reinstate St. Kitts and Nevis as one of the freest, if not the freest country in the entire world. We held that an enviable position at some time, but you know, things went wrong. But we can rectify that, I'm sure, if we take seriously the World Justice Project and other issues as it relates to accountability, transparency, and good governance. You heard them today, and you wonder what's going on in the country. But my Stray Dog family, we try to raise the level of national consciousness. We try to raise the level of national discourse by alerting our people to their rights, to their responsibilities, and certainly to their obligations. My name is Ian Patches Liburd, and I give Almighty God thanks for blessing me with yet another opportunity to join you in conversation on yet another occasion. And as per usual, I always select a short dissertation, a short thesis, so we can have our discussions around it. And I know at times we do stray from the thesis, and I tolerate it because, Straight Talk is your program. There's no Straight Talk without you. And so we try to accommodate all. Sometimes, yes, we stickle for certain time, but at times we are a little bit liberal as well, my Straight Talk family. So tonight, though, I did in fact decide that entitle my thesis tonight, a team of experts in an unsettled federation. And sometimes I know I keep you pondering as what the hell is Patches going to talk about tonight. But it's straightforward. We do have a team of experts here in St. Kitts. And that's causing the unsettlement of the Federation. And I looked at the United Nations lead agency on international development, the United Nations Development Program, the UNDP, which supports countries and communities as they work hard towards eradicating poverty and to implement the Paris Agreement on climate change and achieve the Sustainable Development Goals. Now, the UNDP advocates for transformative change and connects countries to the resources they need to help. Now, my Straight Talk family, in its Human Development Report 2021-2022, the UNDP reminds us that we live in a world of worry. Yes, we live in a world of worry. They refer to the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic having driven reversals in human development in almost every country, continues to spin off variants unpredictably. The war in Ukraine still continues. The China are trying to strike a peace deal for obvious reasons. China is one of the biggest exporters to Ukraine. But the war in Ukraine and elsewhere has created more human suffering. Record-breaking temperatures, fires, storms, and floods sound the alarm of planetary systems increasingly out of whack. Together, they are fueling a cost of living crisis felt around the world, painting a picture of uncertain times and unsettled lives that should be. And I came across an article written by the Global Director of Thought Leadership, Lauren Fernandez of Nielsen IQ, in January 2023, January 2023, in which she opined that the global state of consumers in 2023 is unsettled. She used the dreaded adjective unprecedented while alluding to events such as the pandemic health crises, to record-setting inflation, rising interest rates, falling global wage growth, extreme weather events, and geopolitical conflict. She nevertheless expressed the hope for some stability in the years ahead. And yes, St. Kitts Nevis is part of that global village, and our leaders in particular may have committed themselves to building a better tomorrow, as they put it, a new day and a better way. Consumers here who are citizens and residents, on the other hand, will have to prioritize an holistic view of success or the method of survival by balancing financial, physical, and mental health equally. In fact, according to Fernandez, a mix of financial and health-focused priorities is what's setting the spending tone for 2023. Here at home in St. Kitts and Nevis, we are heading into the 10th month of this new administration, and the Federation is yet to settle down. There is a lot of division. There are a lot of lies and deception and increasing hatred amongst our people. In this deeply divided federation, there's only one thing that brings Kittitians and Nevisians together. There's only one thing to unify us. That is a shared sense of uneasiness amongst us. I'm sure we all agree on that. We all are uneasy. The vast majority of our people feel that the country is heading in the wrong direction. But fewer agree on why that is so and which political party is to blame. The party is in office continues to drive the country forward and looking at the same time in the rearview mirror. But there's danger in this new uncertainty, in the insecurity of this Jew Labour administration, the political polarization that has become the norm and has resulted in the division of the country's entire population in two diametrically opposed political camps. This new way and better day political mantra is nothing but a distinctive or characteristic pattern of behavior that has gripped many in the country by exciting the emotions of ordinary people rather than by having good or morally right ideas. But before going into more details of my thesis, my Straight Dog family, I will first consider, as per usual, our observations in review. And this is the time when we highlight the issues of the day and do some reflection. We may then ask a few questions such as what was accomplished, how it has helped us, how it has helped others, rather what has changed since, and what can be expected next. Also, what we have learned as a people. And since our last discussion on Monday night, we discussed community policing. Remember, we spoke about the Explorers Club and what was happening there. But since our discussion, Commissioner of Police Sutton has announced some changes in the management of the Explorers Club after what reported on Monday. Here's what he said.
Our community policing model has recently undergone some administrative changes. These adjustments are aimed at increasing the overall impact and efficacy of both the model and our community policing team. One such administrative change was the assignment of Sergeant Ricardo Ricky Sampson as the leader of the police community team with specific responsibility for the Explorers Club on St. Kitts. These clubs have been a part of our national community policing model since 2017. Their presence has been welcome in the various communities, and the positive impact on our youth cannot be downplayed or ignored. They continue to provide a safe space for our children to learn, grow and socialize while building a relationship of trust and transparency with law enforcement.
And there are about 14 Explorer clubs spread across the entire federation. I believe, I stand to be corrected, I believe that one was established in Nevis, but there are 13 for sure here on St. Kitts. And you recognize that because we read last Monday gone that Inspector Isles has been stripped from the leadership of that very important program and has been brought back to Basseterre and put on beat. And interestingly but true, her junior, a sergeant, Sergeant Sampson, I don't believe he's any stranger to the club anyway. He has been put in charge of the club. But I believe that Commissioner Sutton was magnanimous in the fact that he commended Inspector Rosemary Isles. She's in fact the one who started this process and must be highly commendable that she moved over 5 years. 5 years, I think 2017 he started, or 6 years going on. And she has moved and established some 13 or 14 clubs within the federation. And she is really worth this commendation.
The Explorers Club, many of our children have learned numerous skills and games, respect, camaraderie, and the value of honesty. I, therefore, wish to thank and highly commend former community policing team leader, Inspector Rosemary Isles Williams, for her stellar work in the development and continuity of the Explorers Clubs. Inspector Isles Williams has been instrumental in their popularization in the communities throughout the country. Her sterling contribution to the protection, education, and empowerment of our youth in this regard cannot go unrecognized.
While the Commissioner, as well, in his brief statement to social media or on social media, he provided an update on the crime situation in St. Kitts and Nevis. I believe I speak for the majority of citizens and residents in St. Kitts and Nevis that the country, the entire federation, is extremely disappointed that not one word has come from the mouth of the minister with responsibility for national security and the Prime Minister. But in fact, for the first 5 months of this year, or first 4.5 months, we should say, of this year, we've had 11 homicides, 10 of which were gun-related. And if we do a quick calculation, in the 9-month period with or since Prime Minister Jew assumed office as Prime Minister and Minister with responsibility for national security, under his watch, there has been 19 murders. But yet he does not see it fit to come to the nation and speak to this terrible crime situation. And you know, my second observation, though, my straight dog family, is just an observation, which I want to say quite clearly. At times when I listen to the Prime Minister and his press conference, I'm so disappointed. I am minded not to listen, but I have to listen. But the Prime Minister lies like when a horse is trotting, according to my grandmother. He fabricates, and you wonder, and he insults our intelligence, and you wonder what is wrong with this Prime Minister. And it's saddening. But those are my only observations in review for tonight. But I had to mention the lies. It's so irritating. It is so uncomfortable. You know, that a Prime Minister would just lie from between his teeth as if nothing has happened. And that's so sad. And I say so respectfully. He has to improve. Otherwise, we are in trouble in this federation. And as I said tonight, earlier, my thesis for tonight, as mentioned, is entitled A Team of Experts in an unsettled federation. A team of experts in an unsettled federation. And my Straight Talk family, I listened to the Prime Minister's press conference as I was making mention earlier. And each time I think about it, I am truly and honestly and really saddened by it. I am saddened because the Prime Minister, as I said, lies. He fabricates. He lies like when a horse is trotting, is what my grandmother used to say. And it seems that every lie he tells, he needs two more lies to cover up the one he told. Worse yet, he insults our intelligence as a people every time. So he must stop pretending to respect the views of ordinary people, because he insults the intelligence of the ordinary people in this country each time. As it's not worth it, since the people keep getting it wrong. The truly radical option, therefore, is for us to respect the experts instead. Let's respect the experts instead. And his team, as he said, are filled with self-acclaimed experts.
I'm tremendously proud of this team. This team is filled with experts in various fields. Any field you might call, there's an expert here, somebody who is well versed in that area, even more versed than me, and that's a good thing. So if I talk about sustainable development, you have Dr. Joya Clark. If I speak to youth and women affairs, you have Honorable Iselin. If I speak about small business and entertainment and agriculture, Honorable Samuel Duggins, well established. If I speak about energy and engineering and so forth, the Honorable Conway Maynard. If I speak about the law, it's a given for our AGS. When I speak about the tourism product and the advancement of labor laws and so forth, we have our learned Honorable who is a lawyer. When I speak about experience in government, we have our senior minister, the Honorable Dr. Denzel Douglas. When I speak about education, and I mean, when you talk about empowering of the youth and community development, we have our Deputy Prime Minister, the Honorable Jeffrey Hadley. And so this team is a serious team.
Very serious team, my Straight Talk family. And I ask you, do you think we should try this option? Do you think we should really try it? And the name for this brand of politics introduced by Terence Drew and his team is called epistocracy. Epistocracy means the rule of the knowers. It is directly opposed to democracy because it argues that the right to participate in political decision making depends on whether or not you know what you are doing. The basic premise of democracy has always been that it does not matter how much you know. You get to say, you must live with, you get to say, because you must live with the consequences of what you do. So what we seem to have in this country is an epistocracy, meaning that we are currently being ruled by a bunch of politicians who know best, who know everything. Look at what happened. They signed an agreement before seeing a model of what would be built. Have you ever heard about that? You sign an agreement and then you're going to stipulate that 2 modules must be built. And if you like them, all goes. And if you don't, to hell with the developer and the project. That's what they did.
What this government put in place, the government said, look, in this arrangement, let us build 2 modular homes. 2 modular homes. It doesn't matter the size or whatever, 2 modular homes. After completing those 2 modular homes, we will decide if those houses are of the liking of the government via the people. Once these houses are acceptable, then it's, I'll just say, go man go. Let us build. After that, in 1 year, we will deliver 600.
Have you ever heard that before, my Straight Dog family? They put the cart before the horse. And now they are trying to talk their way out of a bad agreement, which was already signed. They also had bad messengers from the onset, according to the flip-flop politician. I call him the flip-flop politician. He would be nameless. Bad messengers with a wrong message as well.
With regard to this particular housing project, the manner in which the information was first disseminated was not the best, nor were the administration's dissemination choices immediately thereafter. I've said before, and I say again, that insofar as sharing information with the public is concerned, they must do better. They need, as best as they can, to make sure that they are in front of the story rather than the story being in front of them. And any time either the message or the messenger is wrong, then the objective will not be achieved. The wrong message or the wrong messenger can indeed make it worse. In this situation, however, I anticipate improvement.
But the flip-flop politician or former politician made this comment, and I gave Jack his jacket when he made this comment.
A project of this scope and consequentiality, if it is to proceed, needs to do so only after the public is fully informed. Inform the public, get it right, before these holes that are intended to be dug into the ground, with all the good intentions in the world. Better to take a little time and get it right than these holes end up becoming political burial sites for our decision makers.
And my Straight Talk family, I bet my bottom dollar that this flip-flops prediction is accurate. And this agreement will become a political burial site if ever this project gets off the ground or not, I would add. The flip-flop political analyst, former politician, and I have not agreed on many things. And I was willing to put the Valley issue aside for a moment. I was willing to put this aside even for a moment.
Apparently, he wants me to explain to the nation why I, as a minister, signed an agreement. Well, it seems as though he wants me to explain why I signed. I'm told that he said he's not accusing anybody of bubble, but that he was just asking, where's the money? That's what I'm told, right? And I don't remember. But let me say what I have to say. I'm not saying it didn't happen.
He did not say and could not say that he signed a contract for $50 million for a golf course. Where is the golf course? Where is the money? Is the question we ask. So for all who call me, I confess you were right, and I apologize because the flip-flop has now become the latest messenger on board. And I should know the flip-flop, my Straight Dog family, is now the latest messenger on board.
Let me share my new findings. The government has signed an agreement with a Trinidad company which will finance 2,400 homes over the next 4 years. Note that the demand for homes in St. Kitts and Nevis is greater than 2,400. So there will be other housing projects to complement this at a lower income rate and at higher income rates. The government is speaking to other persons and welcoming locals. This is very important. I've gotten this from the Prime Minister himself, saying that locals are a priority, not just for this project, but generally speaking, and as a matter of principle and philosophy. Locals are priority number one. Everything cannot be done by locals, but everything can be done for locals to benefit.
But truth be told, my stray dog family, this flip-flop is a worse messenger than those before him, because he brought back memories of the first housing revolution under Labour, which failed miserably, or rather went horribly bad. He couldn't remember La Valley, but he remembered the housing revolution under Labour.
People in the country. And this housing revolution, which will be the second one in the last 30 years, the first one having been launched by a Labour administration, which got into office in 1995. This one has possibly an even better chance of transforming this country economically and socially. So think of the massive amount of money, if more and more you are involved, that will come into the economy and remain in the economy for the prosperity of you and your children, and the psychological comfort of having your own home. You don't have to pay rent. You don't have to worry about cruel and callous landlords who will raise the rent on you if you blink. All you do is pay your mortgage, pay your property tax, pay your house insurance, take care of your house, and what you have there is value. The house gives you value. It puts you on the path to wealth and prosperity.
My straight dog family, the flip-flop do not remember the $50 million contract he signed for La Valley. But he remembers the first housing revolution, nigh 30 years ago, when he was a member of the Douglas cabinet. Ironically, the first housing resolution was undertaken by a Trinidadian, or a Trinidadian, whichever pronunciation you like, with the same surname Singh. It was the Bayview Housing Development, constructed by Harry Mongol Singh. Straight Talk cannot confirm if there is any relationship with Brian Singh of East Coast Housing Development, but they both carry the same surname Singh, and they are both from Trinidad and Tobago. Now, under the first housing revolution, the Bayview Housing Development, I think it was in 1998, what am I saying? Things went sour from the beginning. There were issues with people's deposits. Houses were not delivered and were of poor quality. The Douglas Labour government intervened and had to pay millions of dollars to Harry Mongol Singh. Homes under Labour that still have not been accounted for till this day. Are the NHC financial statements still being qualified by the auditors? My straight dog family, when you think of the Califesta and the Creeker homes, truth be told, NHC and these kinds of turnkey projects, I think they are called, are nothing for NHC to be proud about. But my Straight Talk family, there is a question that continues to confront us, to wit. Why is the Federation of St. Kitts Nevis so unsettled? We have a Prime Minister and a cabinet who are specialists that know what they are talking about. They are all specialists, my Straight Talk family. That's their claim.
It is a privilege to sit in this cabinet and listen to my colleagues, because it is clear we have specialists across all sectors of the government. And so when they speak, when we speak, people can have confidence that we know what we are talking about.
But you know, my Straight Talk family, we'll get back to the housing. But when one examines the performance of the administration in the various subject areas, there is a lot to be desired. The health sector is suffering from poor administration, poor management, starting from the minister who is charged with responsibility for health. As minister, he is mandated to exercise general direction and control over that ministry. But what does June know about health management is a fair question. Then the competence of the permanent secretary is also under constant focus. This, coupled with the management style of the director of health institutions, has brought staff morale throughout the health ministry to an all-time low. Why would the permanent secretary, Archibald, for example, order a second-hand anesthetic machine? Why? Well, all Drew has to do is to forego one of his trips and buy a brand new machine. He bought a second-hand anesthetic machine that cannot work and does not work. Health is a huge ministry and performed well during an unprecedented pandemic. The hospital functioned without a glitch, and kudos to the CMO, Dr. Laws, and the Chief of Staff, Cameron Wilkinson. In the area of agriculture, the farmers are disgruntled, my Straight Talk family. Every day the farmers are disgruntled and grumbling.
The farms, they're full of bush. Ain't nothing the farmer could do. You got, some farmers got 10, 20, 30 acres. What you gonna do, weed it? There is no supplies to take care or assist the farmers in the weed. It is serious. Agriculture department has nothing. The only thing they're selling up there is the donation of fertilizer from Morocco.
My Straight Talk family, while the farmers are crying out for help, the minister seemed to be focused on developing the marijuana or the cannabis industry. According to him, there are money on those trees.
It's a multi-billion-dollar industry. And we have been dragging at a snail's pace in getting involved. And I could not understand for the life of me why. Literally growing money on trees. But yet somehow, we don't want to participate. But I dare say, that era is over. And it's now a new day. And a better way. So in 2023, expect a vibrant, thriving marijuana industry. Literally growing money on trees.
My Straight Talk family, water and electricity are public goods that need more serious attention. With respect to the latter, everyone in the region is scoffing at the decision of the minister and the cabinet to borrow over $100 million to purchase 2 fossil fuel generators, while frustrating the implementation of a 36 megawatt solar energy farm. This came under a public-private partnership arrangement at the cost of US $80 million with no capital outlay from the government. The issue of water is a vexing one, and all the minister speaks about is 7 years ago, team unity. But the minister does not speak about the non-performance of bid. But that is nothing new. Bid has failed to commission a 300,000 gallon per day well at Shadwell because of the unacceptable water quality, which has not been rectified by bid over the past 2, 3, or perhaps 4 years. Excuses have been made on behalf of bid in relation to water in the Cairn area, and blame has been apportioned to his predecessor. But I submit tonight, as I've done before, bid is in the business of extracting money and not extracting water. Take my word, my street dog family. Our social safety nets have been torn apart by Dr. Drew, and they all desperately need mending. The PAP, my straight dog family, is still being restructured after 9 months of a Drew administration, while thousands of the poor and vulnerable in this country are left to suffer hardships, my street dog family. And this is the latest we got today about the restructuring of the poverty alleviation program.
The least paid did not get a 1 cent, and they were promised a living. This will not happen under Liburd. I think there was a second question.
Can you just repeat the question so that I'm clear on? The second question, is the restructuring process relating to PAP complete? If not, is the minister responsible for that at liberty to say when it will be completed?
Thank you. So in short, essentially the restructuring process for the Poverty Alleviation Cash Transfer Program is not complete. It is an ongoing process, and I'd like to reiterate that we are trying to make this program sustainable as a sustainable social assistance program. But where we are at right now, we are still early on in terms of the restructuring. We would have started since January in terms of the new applications and received over 12,000 applications initially. But where we are now, we are coming up to at the first 6-month mark. You would recall that the program is now taking a sense where we are offering a short-term assistance to some persons so that more persons can benefit with the resources that we have allotted and attributed to this program. And so the end of June would mark the end of the first 6-month cycle. As we are going along and as we're executing the program, we recognize that there are some persons who have not been touched, and we are making an effort to see how we can have more persons who have not received added for consideration. And so the ministry is planning to essentially reopen the application so that persons who were not able to complete their application can do so, as well as we can consider persons who have not received. So that is a process that is ongoing. We are obviously being able to identify challenges and identify persons who really are in need, who have not been able to receive. And so we are working to see how we can have those persons come in to also be able to submit some kind of completed application. We, as part of the process in terms of the restructuring, we did mention that we have a case management process so that that process has been successful in certain ways. We were able to support a small group of unemployed persons who were who've been beneficiaries to the program. Some of those persons have been able to find employment with the support of the case managers, and these persons would now be able to graduate off the program at this time, at the end of the first 6 months, so that we are then able to make room for other persons who have not received to be added. So the restructuring does continue, and we expect, of course, with other more sustainable areas for persons, like the increase in minimum wage, eventually down the line, that the restructuring will continue as we continue to learn in the process and see how we can meet the needs of persons. But of course, as I mentioned, the ministry is working to see how we can potentially reopen the application process. So
My Straight Talk family, that was a long-winded way by the young senator, Philip, to tell the country that when the deadline came in December of 2022, they received over 12,000 applications. That does not account for the perhaps 4,000 or 5,000 that got shut out. But my Straight Talk family, of the 12,000, they are paying approximately some 5,000. So people are hurting, really, really hurting. In respect of tourism, I have not much to say, except to note that the cruise ship season has come to an end without much fanfare. In the past, before COVID, we had weekly calls or yearly calls or calls throughout the year from Carnival, but Carnival has downsized and so on. We had from RCL as well, but that's the past. For that reason, the grassroots economy will suffer for the next 4 months or more, as the income earning of our taxi drivers, our ambassadors, our hair braiders, restaurateurs will be reduced in this off-season period. But nothing new is happening in that sector in terms of diversification, except for the possible new venture into cannabis tourism.
There is international celebration on the 20th of the 4th month, that's this month, the 20th of April, where we celebrate cannabis internationally, not just locally. And this year we're proposing that the festival be 420 friendly. We are currently working with the legal team and security forces to discuss this plan, and more information, of course, will be provided to you over the next few weeks. But as we talk on diversifying our offerings and products, those of you who have been following us would see that we want to venture into cannabis tourism, and this is one of the pilot projects that we would venture into as we continue our efforts to diversify our offerings as a destination.
My Straight Dog family, although I would concede that Minister Henderson seems to be one of the few ministers who has grown quite fast in her job and appears to have a handle on her subject areas, but I'm somewhat wary that cannabis tourism is the way to go in terms of our tourism diversification. And I would, if I had the opportunity to advise Marsha or Minister Henderson, I believe she ought to look at sports tourism and even the expansion of our educational tourism. But regarding education, Students and parents alike are unsettled with the uncertainty surrounding the Irish Town and the Molyneux primary schools and other schools, along with the Bastille High School. And the things we are hearing or not hearing about those and other institutions. But human settlement, though, in conclusion, is the most unsettled of them all. Especially, as we mentioned earlier, this new housing project that is shrouded in secrecy. We know as much, however, that it is a $600 million project to construct substandard houses. And by our calculation, the developer, East Coast Housing Development, it is anticipated would deal a profit of $282.9 million for all the stakeholders. And this, to me, as I said before, is the greatest betrayal of the poor. Of major concern, though, is the danger in this new uncertainty within our community. And there was a house, whatever it's called, I forgot what it's called, help me. But there's a housing promotion this morning, let's call it a promotion, hosted by the NHC. A housing fair, I think it's called. And we learned as well that the online application platform is now active. It broke down, we learned. The NSC advised that their mortgage refinancing offer expires in June 30th. And they invite all to sign up for their online platform as it's simple, easy, and efficient. They also advise that prices will be available. But they told us as well that one bedroom is costing $110, two bedrooms $213, and three bedrooms $297. But lo and behold, at the fair this morning, it was found out that the land price is not included in that quotation, and that houses are built from a slab. The houses have to be built on a foundation then. You must be eligible for a bank loan. The house will belong to the bank. You must pay the construction insurance. You must pay an annual home insurance, a monthly life insurance. You must pay a down payment at Skellig, a down payment at the Water Services Department. You must pay legal fees for transfer of the land. Must pay legal fees for loan offer. Must pay bank monthly for the loan. NHC is not giving you a house. You are taking a loan from the bank, and NHC will build according to the model. And the estimated payment base on a period of 25 years, the amortization period it's called. One bedroom, $654 monthly. Two bedroom, $1,200 monthly. Three bedroom, $1,700 monthly. Note that the above prices are base costs and does not again include the land costs, insurances, or insurance costs or legal fees. My straight dog family. And that is troubling. That, for those who went to the fair, must be troubling. My straight dog family, this is shameful coming from a Labour administration. They have thrown the poor people whom they have a social obligation to house, to the ravages of a commercial bank. Something has to be wrong with Jew and his administration. The danger in this new uncertainty within our economy and in the insecurity of the poor and the vulnerable under this Jew Labour administration, also the political polarization that has become the norm and has resulted in the division of the country's entire population. Examine finally, my straight dog family, examine seriously this housing program. Why did you lie about the guarantee when the government had to post a 25% guarantee of $153,756,895? If government don't guarantee, who does? That's the question you ask. No bank is going to finance any loan, much less a $600 million loan, without a guarantee. So if not the government, who is guaranteeing the loan? My straight dog family, it is these lies that are coming from a team of experts that are causing an unsettled federation. That's my story tonight, and I'm not going to change it. I'm going to open the lines and entertain your calls. I'm going to also entertain your emails. Remember, the numbers are 869-663-6672 or 646-829-6672. What a quagmire we are in this country. I want to implore you, though, as I go to the lines, to respect others. And to achieve that, you must first respect yourselves. Let us try to be fair to all concerned. Let us try to build goodwill and better friendships. Let us ensure that the things we say and or do will be beneficial to all concerned. And in the process of doing and saying those things, let us strive to build a kinder, gentler St. Kitts and Nevis. My straight dog family, it's 2 minutes past the 9 o'clock, the hour. The lines are open. And again, the numbers are 663-6672 or 646-829-6672. For those of you who like the cloak of anonymity, we give you access by our email platform, and the address is straighttalkpatches@gmail.com. That's STRAIGHTTALKPATCHES@gmail.com. Let's hear from you, my straight dog family. Too many lies and distortions are coming from this government, and we have to out them, we have to expose them, and we have to bring the facts to you, my straight dog family. Yes, I'm sorry about that call just now. Let's go to the lines. Caller, it's 9:04, you're live.
Good evening, Dr. Ian Patches Liburd. Good, how are you?
I am peaceful, my brother. Yourself?
Okay, I'm peaceful too. And then, me another brother, Mr. Straight Talk, and all the conscious, clear-minded, loving, clean-hearted people who listen to Straight Talk. Every one of you, good evening. But let me start first with the quickest thing, the closest thing that I can remember. You know, as we're talking about these houses, these smart houses, that Dr. Joe, the biggest lawyer in St. Kitts, is talking about. No middle income, three-quarter income, now low income people gonna be could afford to rent now buy these houses. None. Because you hear them all the things that the homeowner gonna have to pay for before they go in there. plus the $110,000 for the house itself, the water and the current and other things. Well, you know who will be able to buy and rent those houses, whether it's 600 or 400 houses? No other people but the Chinese. Because the way they're going around, this place is sinking. Every building they see that is not a wooden building and it closed down, they go to the owner and find them and rent it. So they are the only ones who are going to be able to own these houses, and they're going to rent them, and they're going to be all supermarkets in their houses in Sinkits. So Dr. Joe, as loyal as he is, he don't know poor people cannot afford those houses.
Okay.
Because that is, if poor people are depending on the $500 that your government, which is my government, and the honest people government, and people who do not condone wrong to the public government, was given to the poor people who are in need, not want. Even though some of them who never in need of it, they're greedy and they get you because a loophole. And he's gonna take away $500 from poor people. People are depending on that. And like I said, the lady from Sinkis who went for 20-something years, you know what she needs to tell me? I don't say it already. She tell the auntie, I do not want to hear nothing from you. I do not respect you. Because you come up here and you put in a government that the country do not need. And you run gone back. And now the same government who you come up and put in here, they take away the $500 for her. She don't have nothing to do but go on the street and live she life, and to that, some of your friends them calling her war bean.
Okay.
Now, this government here looking out for poor people who are in need, and then he gonna come take away the $500, and then they're gonna say that they got some people on 6 months, what you call it, probation or exam. So you must only eat for 6 months, and after 6 months you're gonna starve. People, wake up! It is time to move Dr. Joe, and he cabal them out of office. We have to move them, and we have to expose what the wrong thing they are doing to people in this country, to the outer world. Let them know he's not a loving leader, and he tells too much lie, and we know the title to a lawyer. I'll come back.
Okay, thanks for your intervention. Let's go to the lines. Caller, I want to thank you for holding your life.
Mr. Straight Talk, good evening.
How are you? Mr. Straight Talk?
What can I say, man? It's a pleasure to come tonight and say good night to you.
Okay, good to hear you. Good. Sound like you're back in the cold.
I come back here last week, and Monday I was knocked out. I get in my bed and I said, no, I'm going to just listen to you. But tonight I can't find that lady, so we don't have thing tonight. So I just said, let me listen for tonight. But you're sounding good and all is well.
All is well. God's been good to me, and trust you are well.
Yes. I guess when we get after the year, we can rub base. Mr. Straight Talk, Mr. Smart Straight Talk, sorry. It's Mr. Smart Straight Talk. That's gonna be your new thing.
No man, the only thing smart is the hospital and the houses, and
Yes,
those things.
Smart house and smart hospital.
Yeah. Okay.
But did they had announced that they're gonna have the press conference this morning?
Yes, it was on social media, so I guess.
Because I'm listening the whole thing for the whole week and I didn't hear nothing come over that I said. So I was shocked when I come in this evening and they said that. But hey, just let them do what they got to do. Understand? Just let them do what they got to do. Because hey, they are the head, so they want to put us at the tail. So what can we say? You just got to do what you got to do. Mr. Smart Straight Talk, I don't know. imagine a one little bedroom house costs $100 and something thousand. I have no idea who gonna pay for that, but hey, that's what the people want. So you're gonna have a one bedroom. You're gonna go and build a one bedroom house to do what? So when you put in that is only you alone, then you don't want nobody else come to spend no time with you. But hey, that's what he says, and that's what they're gonna do. So, Mr. Straight Talk, when we get after here, we're gonna rub bases. All right, man.
Okay, my brother, good to hear you.
So I'll see you when I see you in a few hours time. Talk to you.
Talk to you as well. See you when I see you. That's my Straight Talk family from over there in the US of A. We talk about the size of the houses, but what about the quality of the houses? That's something that one has to consider as well. Dwyer Astafan's commentary yesterday reads this email: in respect of the houses to be constructed by the Trinidadian company was such a precipitous I seem to have lost that. Change of mind to what he articulated last week has left many confused and wondering if he was paid to do some damage control. Reads that email. Let's go back to the lines. My Straight Talk family, you are live. Hello, caller. Yes, caller. Yes, sir.
The house them look nice, yeah?
Uh-huh. You saw them?
The house them look nice, yeah?
You saw the houses, I'm asking you. Okay, that call is not willing to tell me whether he saw them, saw the designs, but we'll hear much more about these houses. Much, much more. But, you know, NSC did model homes before, and people rejected them. And I would not be surprised for a moment if people reject these houses as well. Call your life.
Hi, Patrice. Good night.
Good night, my dear. How art thou?
I'm good. The cost of the houses and that they got there, when the people them get them, is a great grandchildren they're gonna pay for the house. And the person who call it about the house look nice. Pictures say one thing, but when you see naturally something else. So let them wait and see when the house them built to see what's going on, but house look nice. The picture them look nice. Anybody could do a picture.
Pictures look nice?
But the picture, the house look nice. Look nice. The guy say, whoever called, he said the house look nice. It's a picture you see. They build any sample to say anything? And a lot of them pray to call him because they know definitely they're going to victimize. They can't victimize me because they can't tell me, none of them could tell me I can't come back and say it's because that's my born in land. That's how me land of me birth, so they can't tell me I can't come back. So I could talk anything I want to say.
Once you talk the truth, you don't need to worry about it. I mean, we have to stand firm and talk the truth. Yeah?
Whether I talk truth or false, they can't tell me I can't come back to St. Kitts.
Okay. Well, let's
that way me born and raised.
Okay.
As my grandfather used to say, which I don't know, St. Kitts giving birth, but in a game bread.
Okay. Okay, let's go back to the lines. Caller, you're live.
Yes.
Hello,
good evening, Mr. David.
Hello?
Good evening, Mr. David.
Yes, good evening, sir.
Good evening, Mr. David.
How are you,
I'm
sir?
listening to you. I'm doing quite well today. I'm feeling much better. I had my...
You had what? Okay, we seem to have lost that caller. That voice sounds a little familiar, though. I trust and hope you will call back. But it's now 15 past the 9 o'clock hour. And we're looking at the caption tonight, a team of experts in an unsettled federation. And things are not settled here in St. Kitts and Nevis. They're not, I confess. But let's go back to the lines at 15 past 9 o'clock. Caller, you live. Hello, caller.
Yes, Mr. Liburd.
Yes,
I'm sorry I got disconnected. Now, I'm back on this subject of housing. As I listen to the rest of the dissertation by government officials, I'm very frightened. I am a frightened man. First and foremost, my recommendation is for Dr. Ju to get the Commissioner of Police to do a thorough investigation on this East Coast development. And if the kids get you in the police to assist them, and if a character by the name of Larry Demani have anything to do with it, I'm suggesting to him that he run as far as he could. Either that, or he's going to have to plunge the people of St. Kitts into a war, and I mean a literal war with Trinidad government. Because Mr. Demani is one of the most despicable human beings you have in the cabinet. And I'm speaking from personal knowledge. And when it comes to corruption, he wrote the book on it.
Which man is that?
And Mr. Larry Demani. Larry Demani, that's his name.
Miss who?
Larry Demani.
Larry Demani.
Yes. If he is one of the principals, I am suggesting to Dr. Judah he run as fast as he could. Take the contract, and we can recognize no matter what he said, it needs me to get the U.S. military assistance because St. Kitts will have to go to war with Trinidad. That guy is so corrupt that there is no way, there is no peace for citizens. No, and a more serious note, I just want some numbers. If a one-bedroom house is going to cost $800 per month, the person who's going to get the mortgage for that house has to have an earning of $2,400 minimum. Otherwise, they will not be able to afford it. And how do I avoid that? Because you should not pay more than 35% of the gross income for housing. If you do it, then you're living in a house you can't afford. And what that means, a 3-bedroom house, the person has been making $4,800 a month in St. Kitts to be able to afford a house. Anything else is going to create a problem for everybody. And then, of course, back to Mr. Demani. You can rest assured if you have anything to do with that construction, you're going to get substandard material in it. And it is cheaper. It is more cost effective to run from the contract right now, tear it up and burn it, than to let them even build one house. Because I'm trying to tell you that coming out of Trinidad, and I have personal experience with that.
But you seem to, I think you mentioned now, I've recognized the voice that you did in fact do some projects before, housing projects. Is it normal for one to sign an agreement and then you present a model after signing the agreement?
No, that's exactly what I'm so afraid. And I'm telling you, if Mr. Larry Demani have anything to do with it, nothing that you sign you're going to get. Okay. That man, and there's no point in calling Dr. Joe. He's a young fellow, and he's stepping into a league that he's not capable. He can't swim in those waters. Not when Larry Demani is in the water. That's swimming with the sharks and expecting not to get eaten alive. think it's not ready to deal with a man that loves the money.
Okay. Well,
and I'm gonna beg him, please.
Okay.
When you have time, score the contract working at the time.
Okay, thanks.
Because I do not believe in sir.
Yeah, thanks for your advice. Thanks for your intervention. And as you quite clearly said to Dr. Joe, while he has time, he must scuttle the contract. The name that's involved with the contract, though, it's Brian Singh. And as I said earlier, it's ironic that the first housing project, and this Labour government seemed to enjoy a relationship with the Trinidadians, because all the housing projects they launch with any private sector projects came from Trinidad or were with Trinidadians. And the first housing revolution, as intimated by the flip-flopper that was undertaken, he was then a member of the cabinet. It was undertaken by a Trinidadian who went by the name of Singh, Haril Mongol Singh of Bayview Housing Development. And we don't know if there's a relationship with Brian Singh. But under the Bayview Housing Development, that went belly up pretty early. There were issues with the deposits. There were issues with the delivery of houses, and there were issues with the poor quality of the houses. The Douglas Labour government back then had to intervene and had to pay millions of dollars to Harry Mongol Singh. And the warehouse is still down here at Camps. If you're driving, look to your left there in Camps, you see the warehouse still there. And, you know, it's very interesting that this has come up again. And another Trinidadian sponsored project. My Straight Dog family, it's 9:22. And when one examines the performance of this administration, we ask ourselves, what is happening with this Prime Minister and his cabinet? When we reflect on this arrangement, and when we reflect, as a matter of fact, on the brand of politics that is being touted here, and when one listened, and I listened to the Prime Minister's press conference this morning, and each time I think about it, I am saddened. I'm saddened because the Prime Minister lies like when a horse is trotting. And I say so respectfully. I don't know if he's aware of what he does. But my grandmother would say, he lies like when a horse is trotting. And every lie he tells, it seems as though he needs two more lies to cover up the lie he told. And worse yet, he insults our intelligence as a people every time. So he must stop pretending that he respects the views of ordinary people, as it is not worth it, since the people keep getting it wrong. He is the only one that's right. And the truly radical option, therefore, as I said, is for us to respect the experts. And they are all experts. Do you think we should try it? And I mentioned it. I mentioned that the name for this brand of politics introduced by Terence Drew and his team is called epistocracy, meaning the rule of those who know, the rule of the knowers. And it is directly opposed to democracy because it argues that the right to participate in a political decision-making process depends on whether or not you know what you are doing. The basic premise of democracy has always been that it does not matter how much you know. You get a say because you must live with the consequences of what you do. And that's why it's sometimes troubling all times when they have to fly in these people and fly them out because they don't have to live. Those who fly out do not have to live with the consequences of what they do. We have to live with it. So what we seem to have is an epistocracy, meaning that we are currently ruled by a bunch of politicians who are experts, who are specialists, who know the best, my straight dog family. They sign an agreement before seeing a model. They put the cart before the horse, in other words. And now they are trying to talk their way out of a bad agreement, which was already signed. They had bad messengers from the onset. Now they have a new messenger, but he is worse. That new messenger, the flip-flopper, he is worse, my straight dog family. It's 9:27. Let's take these emails, my straight dog family, before I forget them. Patches, the country has gone to the dogs on the labor. The government is not a labor government. You mean by to say Garth gonna say today that the energy houses for people who are bankable, for people who can't go to the bank. So what happens to us who work in factory, who live in people, small house, paying rent, and don't have any savings? The houses are poor quality, poorly structured, weak, and not fit for us in St. Kitts. What is wrong with Jew and labor? Those trash houses are what Jew really think about the people of St. Kitts. You are all fit for low-level living, poor quality, and way too expensive, reads this email. Patches, I am a worker at NHC with over 10 years working experience. Before 2022 election, a big scandal was discovered by the accountant involving a female worker who used over 200,000 worth of NHC materials to renovate her private house at Birdrock. This female worker was suspended. And when someone got in office, the investigation was stopped and she was brought back at NHC. Patches, the workers of NHC are highly upset that this woman has returned to NHC after the big scandal. Is this the new day and better way Labour has promised? My straight dog family, it is 9:29. If you are just joining me, we are looking at my thesis for tonight, a team of experts in an unsettled St. Kitts and Nevis. Let's go to the lines. Caller, you are live. Hello, caller.
Yes, Patrick.
So,
yeah, the lady in New York from St. Kitts, she's correct because a picture is different to the actual structure of the house here. Because a lot of people look at pictures on the internet of vehicles and they look nice, and when they buy them, when they bring them here, 2 months and the vehicle start to run and it breaks down. So the lady is correct. Now look what they do. You really said it right, that because they're putting the cat in front of the house. They started to break down your grammar school building. And when they realize something gone wrong, they're sending out information that the government is looking tenders to demolish the building. And you know why? You know why they come now behind with the cat, with they move the cat from in front of the house? One of the workers on the building who breaking down the building is sick, got contaminated with the disease up on the grammar school building and is hospitalized. And so they're trying to hide that. So now that's the reason why they come out and talk about they want tenders to demolish the building and they don't start to pong it down, but because the man's sick, they're trying to hide that. Now let me go to this thing here with this passport business. But yes, I wanted to limit. This is 9 months since Terence Joe as the Prime Minister of the country, India. And in the first 100 days in office, he signed on to over 3,000 passports. And now it is more than 3,000. And every time he has a press conference, the question has been shoot to him. He's shooting to him. Has been shot to him. And they keep asking him, how many passports have you signed on to since you're in office? And he telling them where to go to find that information. The campaign say that the Labour government, his government, when he get in there, freedom of information going to be available. Anyone going to have access to it. Well, that's a big lie, Joe. That ain't happening yet. Why? Let me tell you all, the listening audience and the viewing audience, why is it he don't say straight out answer the answer? Answer the questions when they ask him about the passport. How many passports you sign on to in your first 100 days, Joe? Up to now, if Baba weaving and ducking and hiding, he don't want to say. Well, if you don't want to say, straight up to the questioner, something is wrong. Something is wrong with he and he managing the passport. Patches, I'll go again, and if nobody want to come in, I will pull up the gap because me ain't afraid nobody. I'm talking the truth. And once my conscience is alive, I will speak the truth. I'll be back, Patches.
Thank you for your intervention. The houses look nice is one thing. Read this email. But during hurricane or even little rain, that's a different story. Patches, I saw a picture of the houses, and the body is not attached to the foundation. It is rest on. I went on Sheen and I saw the houses there. The only difference is they come with a cistern. It's a pity the houses smarter than the PM and his advocates. Anybody could outsmart Drew. Anybody with $1 in his or her hands. Taking St. Kitts and Nevis from Drew is like taking candy from a child. I am willing to fight for my rights to the end. But those who voted for Labour should be put to the front line. Reads this email. This other email reads, good night, Patches. So Smart Manju launches NHC Smart Houses today at a housing fair. The houses and the prices so are smart. They include a fridge, a stove, and a solar heater. But they do not include land, do not include a foundation for the house, do not include utilities or the deposit required to connect to them, do not include a driveway, do not include any landscaping, do not include fencing, and do not include any legal fees or insurances. They are not providing houses for us, the poor. They provide rip-off mortgages on smart, tricky terms. Shameful, 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 reads this email. At 9:35, my straight-out family. at 9:35, and if you had just joined me, we look tonight at the team of experts and the unsettled state here in St. Kitts and Nevis. And my straight talk family, when we considered the issue of housing, and as is nicely called human development in St. Kitts, I reflected in the beginning as a prelude to my discussion that the United Nations lead agency on international development, the United Nations Development Program, UNDP, supports countries and communities as they work to eradicate poverty, to implement the Paris Agreement on climate change, and achieve sustainable development goals. And as we speak about climate change, I saw a release from the Nevis Water Department. I'm going to digress a bit so we can, as we normally do here on Straight Talk, we keep you abreast with all that's happening around us. And I saw a very interesting press release from a public notice from the Nevis Island Administration and its Nevis Water Department. And it says, island-wide water interruption implemented today, Thursday, 18th May 2023, until further notice. And it reads, and I quote, "The Nevis Water Department wishes to advise the general public that the current water rationing schedule has been extended to different parts of the island at different time intervals. The schedule previously published is likely to be altered due to the current severe drought conditions are presently affecting the island, and water services can be interrupted at any given time and can be delayed longer than the time expected. We do apologize for any inconvenience caused to all consumers at this time." And this message comes, public notice comes from the Nevis Water Department in relation to an island-wide water interruption which was implemented today, 18th May 2023. We've had that situation here in St. Kitts for a long time. Areas such as Bird Rock, all around the island, as a matter of fact. In our area here at Bird Rock, the water goes religiously at about 8, 9 o'clock every single night and comes back in the morning. So if you don't get your shower, then you're in trouble. But I was saying, my Straight Talk family, it's 9:39. The United Nations lead agency, as I was saying, the UNDP, supports countries and communities as they work to eradicate poverty, implement the Paris Agreement on climate change, and achieve the Sustainable Development Goals. Now, in St. Kitts and Nevis, we are part of the global village, and our leaders in particular may have committed themselves to building a better tomorrow, and as they put it, a new day and a better way. But consumers who are citizens and residents, on the other hand, we will have to prioritize an holistic view of success or a method of survival by balancing the financial, physical, and mental health equally. My Straight Talk family, there is a lot of division, lies, and deceptions, and increasing hatred amongst our people. In this deeply divided nation, there's only one thing that brings we as Kittitians and divisions together. One thing unifying us is a sheer sense of uneasiness amongst us. What is Patches on the 13th of October 2022, the Minister with responsibility of solid waste, the Honorable Dr. Joel Clark, said several instances of malpractice have been uncovered concerning the management of accounts and the staff at the Solid Waste Management Corporation. The Honorable Dr. Clark stated that the matter was passed to the AG, the Honorable Garth Wilkin, to review for legal implications where persons were appointed without contracts and also appointed with multiple roles. Patches today makes 7 months since the Honorable Dr. Clark sent this matter concerning the then manager of the Solid Waste Management Corporation to A.G. Wilkin. Up to now, we have not heard from A.G. Garth Wilkin whether legal charges will be brought against that former manager whose brother is a minister. Patches A.G. Wilkin and Deputy PM are very close friends, reads this email. What is the size of the land in which these houses will sit? Did they mention anything about this? Reads this other email. My Straight Talk family, there are lots of questions to be answered. There's lots of uneasiness amongst us. The vast majority of our people feel that the country is heading in the wrong direction. But few agree on why that is so and which political party is to blame. I don't know why this always arises, especially when it comes to infrastructure. Because when Team Unity got into office, and I was humbled to be part of that cabinet, thanks to the people of East Basseterre. And I went into work. We never did things, I never supported doing things for political expediency. So the first thing we did, or I championed or advocated for, is to resurface the entire Island Main Road, which was filled with potholes. And we achieved that. In the process, we also ensured that Old Road Bay will never be the same again. And that we achieved as well. No more rocks going to fall on any vehicle and kill anyone across Old Road Bay in our lifetime. We thought about tourism and the advancement of cruise tourism, because there was a situation where cargo and cruise passengers were mixing, and cargo and cruise cannot mix. So if you wanted a dedicated cruise facility, then we would have had to construct a second cruise pier. And we did that. no matter what they said. Peer spoil, peer in right, but we did that. And today, we are one, if not the only Caribbean destination that can accommodate 3 Oasis-class ships simultaneously at the same time. And we ensure that. We improve the traffic management by installing traffic signals, traffic lights around Basseterre. The second phase should have been or would have been in Sandy Point, and we trust that that will continue. Our bus terminals, East Bus Line Terminal and the West Bus Line Terminal. And it's a shame to see that the East Bus Line Terminal, the management there is so poor. All because of some of the operators there who, I can't describe it. But why that does not work, it baffles me. But in time, I'm sure it would. The West Bus Line Terminal works without issues. We intended to find a bus terminal for the St. Peter's bus line. That is still outstanding as well. My Shooter family did and built a brand new terminal, ferry terminal, one of the best in the Caribbean. It's a very nice one now in Anguilla, so that may give us some trouble. But they are good, both. We had to resurface the entire runway at the Robert Llewellyn Bradshaw Airport. As well, we resurfaced all the taxiways, Alpha, Bravo, and Charlie, and the western portion as well of the apron. Things changed in 2022, and the minister then put a house on the apron to accommodate the COVID testing. To me, that was a waste of money when I saw it. But my Straight Dog family, that's history. But I'll go to the lines and caller you live. Hello, caller.
Good night.
How is the Bible man? Good night.
The Bible man is all right because the Bible man is bringing over some message.
I always look forward to that.
Okay. Now we're here. Now we are living in the last and closing days of time. And I have to, these messages, when Jesus come, all these messages that been preached, you have to get account for these messages. Now, Second Timothy chapter 3, verse 1. This I know also, in the last days, perilous times shall come. Number 2, men shall be lowered up themselves, covetous, boasters, proud, blasphemers, disobedient to parents, unthankful, unholy. Number 3, without natural affection, truth breakers, false accuser, insolent, despise them that are good. Despise them that are good. Now, the word of God said that we must preach the word of God in season and out of season. Now, 2 Timothy chapter 2, verse 22. The word of God say here, we are to the youthful lust, follow of righteousness, faith, charity, peace, with all with men, and call upon the other pure heart. Number 23 says, fool and learn, question, avoid, knowing that they do general strive. Now, my dear, I have to really, if I can't preach the word and give the word, I will never take up a telephone and come on the radio station. But one thing I have to tell you, in Hebrews chapter 9, and I will say it, it is an appointed, verse 27, it is an appointment unto man once to die, but all after death is the judgment. Mr. Patrick, nobody know what time they are going. Now I'm saying this the last. Today, you have to live a godly, a Christian, a dedicated Christian life here. And if you die being a Christian, the Lord, your body go to the grave, your spirit go to Jesus and go to the Lord. And when the day of judgment day, in Matthew chapter 25, he said he can separate the sheep from the goat. So now you have to do what you have to do right here. Live a holy and a righteous life before a holy God. So thank you, Mr. Patrick, for the time. And may the Lord richly bless you. And I am going to tell you the last thing. Nicodemus, and the word of God says in John chapter 3, it said, marvel not, I said unto you, you must be born again. You got to be born again. So there is no middle ground. So Mr. Patrick, have a pleasant night and all the best.
Have a pleasant night as well, Mr. Bible Man. Always amazed and impressed. You're up to date with the technology, my brother. But thanks for your intervention. As we wind down tonight's program in my Street Talk family, the email reads, Patches reads for us again the 25% guarantee the government has put up front for the Trinidad company. Reads for us again all the additional costs such as home insurance, legal fees that Jew and NHC is hiding from us. And yes, they are hiding. And the people should know the truth. Because when we examine the housing project, as a matter of fact, the press release stated, and I quote, government and NHC enter into agreement with developer for the delivery of 2,400 affordable smart homes, because smart homes. Now, the developer demanded a government guarantee, and the guarantee of the agreement reads, this public-private partnership project is valued at over $600 million over a 4-year period, and the developer proposes a standard written government guarantee of only 25% of the full 100% sum of EC $615,580.56. The 25% equates to EC $153,756,895.14. And the total sum is to construct the total quantity of 2,400 houses in 4 phases of 600 houses each. So there's no need to lie about the guarantee. No need to lie whatsoever. No bank is going to finance any loan, much less a $600 million loan, without a guarantee. So if the government is not guaranteeing these loans, then who is the question we ask. Let's go back to the lines. Caller, you're live. Hello, caller.
Mr. Patches, greetings. How are you?
I am peaceful, my brother. Yourself?
I'm very good. Constantly listening to your spicy program with those touching topics nationally.
Thank you.
And that is very good of you to be consistent, to be educating the people.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Patches, some time ago, you corrected a saying to say, well, your program is opposition. And you corrected it, but it was very rightful of you to do so. Because I don't really see since the inception of your program years back, you never be in opposition to government.
Never.
You always be educational to empower the people.
True.
So that was really good for you to correct that. Whenever conflict arises between material and spiritual values, the conscience plays an important role. And anyone who suffers from a guilty conscience is never free from that problem until he makes peace with his conscience. Mr. Patches, your topic tonight, team of experts. Finish it there for me, please.
In an unsettled federation.
In an unsettled federation. That word, unsettled, it caught my attention. I said I would really give it a saying. Because why I say caught my attention, we live and we see our country close down under the pandemic. Many of us have shoes and we can't wear them. Many of us have clothes. Many of us have vehicles. Many of us live in luxury. And we couldn't take part in our luxury life of living. And it seems as though, even though that pandemic come and show us that we should rearrange our ways and attitude thinking. Many of us still want to continue the same old pathway of living. So when I hear you use the word unsettled, I mean, we are living in financial times, and as the Bible man pointed out, we are living in revelation times. So we must think about management. If we cannot say, Mr. Patches, for the past years, we being an independent nation, we cannot say we haven't gotten an example how to govern our country. We cannot say that. Because we say we are a Christian nation, and the 2015 election, we say God had an input. So God had an input. The ways was always there. And what the way he ways was about unity.
Yep.
And it's because ego, that's what portrayed in the federation, ego. That is what some man feel they cannot change their attitude to live in unity to develop the country.
True.
So they do otherwise. So if we find ourselves in an unsettled federation, it's because of our own ego. We don't want to accept the reality that we can live in unity and find ways and ideas and policies to govern our country. Social policies should act as reparations for our people. Why can't we see it like that? Why can't we see our social policies act as reparations for our people? To bring our people to a standard that they deserve.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Pattis, you continue to stay strong, and I pray and hope our country is consistently managed, because we cannot afford a financial meltdown in this country. We cannot afford it because we see under the pandemic, even though the country was shut down and many of us couldn't do as we like with our luxuries, we survived.
Yep.
And with a financial unsettlement in our country, we don't know how to be because we never experienced it. Mr. Patrick, you continue to stay strong and stay healthy. God bless.
God bless you as well. Thank you for your inspirational contributions and for guiding us all the way. I'll take this and make this my final call for the night. I do have a caller on hold here. Let's see what's happening here. Yes, caller, I want to thank you for holding. I'm going to give you... Are you there, caller? Are you there, caller?
Yes, Patches, I'm right here.
It's you, okay.
Yeah, I wanted somebody else to... I would have liked somebody else to get it. But anyway, since you have me already, let me tell you this. The problem that started over solid waste is 7 months now, right? And you know the reason why they did not continue with it? Because that was the first crack within the Jew administration when it comes to splitting up the government. Because the person who was in management situation is the brother of one of his cabinet members. So that's the reason why they put a pause on that. Because they didn't want the crack to start so early. But what is to be, will be, and they can't stop it. Now, government go and government come. And once the government that is gone has laid down any plans to develop the country in a better position than it is, the government that coming behind supposed to continue it, that is. Now, it is more economical to build a new school up on the clean land. They do not have to break down nothing but bush, and they don't do that. Don't level up. But he said that he going to got to go pay money for people to demolish the old one and then start a new foundation with that. which is money, and he just trying to be different to team unity government. They just want people to say, well, then, Sidio, he got to continue what team unity happened. He want to say he's doing different, but his difference that he's doing, it's causing the country more money, and he leading the country down destruction. But just, you have a good night. All the best. Keep looking back. Swing your head left and swing it right when you're driving going, and look in your rearview mirror. Do not trust people. The Bible says, do not let your left hand know where your right hand go. And the hymn writer said, you dare not trust your own, because the arms of flesh will fail you. Have a good night, Patches. See you, God willing, on Monday. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That's the way we're going to end it tonight, my Straight Dog family, and make that my final call for tonight. And just to summarize in the context which I started, in that there is a lot of division, lies, and deception, and increasing hatred amongst our people. In this deeply divided nation, there is only one thing that brings petitions and divisions together, it seems, is that we all have the same sense, a shared sense of uneasiness amongst us. The vast majority of our people feel that the country is heading in the wrong direction. But few agree on why that is so. But there is danger in this new uncertainty, in the insecurity of this Jew Labour administration. The political polarization that has become the norm and has resulted in the division of the country's entire population into diametrically opposed political camps. This new way and better day political mantra is nothing but a distinctive or characteristic pattern of behavior that has gripped many in the country by exciting the emotions of ordinary people rather than by having good or morally right ideas. My Straight Dog family, we need to take an introspective look at what's going on. We need to understand that we live in a world of worry, a world filled with uncertainty, a world filled with unpredictability, and a world filled with complexity. And we must understand that this brand of politics introduced by Terrence Drew and his team, what I call epistocracy. By that I mean the rule of those knowers. They only know. They are the ones who know. They are specialists. They are experts. It's directly opposed to democracy because it argues that the right to participate in political decision making depends on whether or not you know what you are doing. Whereas the basic premise of democracy has always been that it doesn't matter how much you know. You get a say because you must live with the consequences of what you do. So what we seem to have is this epistocracy, in that we are currently being ruled by a bunch of politicians who believe they know best, who believe they are the only ones who know, that they sign an agreement before even seeing a model that would be built. They put the cart before the horse, and now they are trying to talk their way out of a bad agreement which was already signed. Yes, they had bad messengers, whatever you call them. But my straight dog family, in this world, we must understand and we must accept that to err is human. And like the caller said earlier, shuttle or scuttle the agreement, Dr. Joe, and ensure that we don't get into or continue into this quagmire. Yes, the AG Garth Lucien Wilkins said that the agreement are for those who are bankable, those who can be approved by the bank. It doesn't matter how many people apply. If 4,000 people applied, it does not follow that 4,000 people will be approved. Maybe 10 will be approved. Who knows? But only time will tell. Our social safety nets have been torn apart by Dr. Joe and desperately need mending. The PAP is being restructured for now 9 months, while thousands of poor people and those who are vulnerable suffer from hardship, my straight dog family. And as I wrap tonight, I want to say, as I said before, this $600 million project that would yield profits in the millions for all the stakeholders, Brian Singh, Prime Minister Joe, Leon Natto, and all else. This, as I said before, is the greatest betrayal of the poor. Of major concern, though, is the danger in this new uncertainty within our economy and the insecurity of the poor and vulnerable under this Jew administration. Also, the political polarization that has become the norm and has resulted in the division of the country's entire population. My straight dog family, imagine you enter into agreement with a developer for delivery of 2,400 affordable smart homes, and this developer has never built one home in his life. The agreement demands a standard written government guarantee of $153,756,895. Well, if you give that agreement, Dr. Joe, then all the developer has to do is show this agreement to the bank and get his finance on the basis of the agreement. What are you talking about? If you have an agreement, the AG must tell you, he doesn't know himself. He has to see about his social security for his maid. But in an agreement or a contract, the only indemnification, the only thing that can protect you, who is party to the agreement, is for the developer to post a performance bond and a security bond. You will have to provide the government guarantee. So, if no bank is going to finance any loan, or no bank rather is going to finance any loan, much less a $600 million loan without a guarantee. So if not the government, who is guaranteeing this loan? My straight dog family, it is these lies and the continuing insulting of the intelligence of our people coming from this team of experts that are causing an unsettled federation. That's my story tonight, and I am not going to change it. But I want to thank Almighty God for guiding our conversation tonight, and as always. I want to, again, as that caller just before we close tonight reminded me, to remind you that this is not an opposition program. Far from it. Never will, never was, and never will be. I will remain an untiring advocate of truthfulness. Nothing is watered down in any way, whether by omission or exaggeration, to make it more interesting here on Straight Talk. That's not what we're all about. I consider it my duty to always present the unvarnished truth about governance in my country as a stickler of continuous improvement. That's my story for tonight, and I'm not going to change it. I just want to thank you, the callers, those who sent emails, those who listened on social media, YouTube and Facebook. Just remember, you are the ones who make Straight Talk, and for that reason, I say a big, big thank you. I'm Ian Patches Liburd, and God's willing, we will connect on Monday for another edition of Straight Talk. Until that time, be good to all whom you meet. For me, in my weekends, I go to church. If you don't have a church, let's go to Zion Moravian, just up on Victoria Road. We do have some wonderful times there with our good pastor who gets us some very sound messages. And my Straight Talk family, just remember that whatever your mind conceive, that you will achieve. But first of all, you must believe. So when you wake in the morning, thank God for the morning light. Thank Him for taking you through the night. And my Straight Talk family, keep moving on. Bye-bye. Until we connect on Monday. Keep moving on.
The morning, I thank God for the morning light, giving thanks and praises for taking me safely through the night. I won't stop now for the rest of food. I love it here. You'll reach the top. And from my mother.